Hi, welcome back to class. And this week we are on Chapter 10, so we're looking at politics and the economy. And this is something that we actually are going to surprisingly not spend a lot of time on. Um, we're just going to go through this chapter, but I don't have a lot of assignments attached to this really, which is surprising. If anyone knows me, I do talk about politics and economics quite a bit. But for the purposes of this class, I want to attach everything, I guess, in ways that we look at it in a regular sociology class. So, in general, in an intro to sociology class, we probably wouldn't spend too much time really focusing on this, and so we're just gonna give it the week, and it does tie into things later on at the end. So we do have this class designed to look at. It gets into looking at social movements a little bit, so it will get back into that later, but I just want to hit on this here at this point to get you a general understanding for bigger discussions. But this is something we talk a lot about in sociology when we talk about social policy and how it affects other things. And I will tie it together as we go through, especially as we get moving into looking at intersectionality in sociology. So this week is again very straightforward. I'm sure you're noticing that I have a agenda for most of my weeks where we have a quiz, we have a Dropbox, and we follow up on the discussions. And what we're going to do is we're going to pull these together and we're going to intersect just different areas that people could possibly face oppression later on. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But for now, we're just going to introduce you to these concepts with the economy and politics. And like I said, they will come up later. So, like I said, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to be moving on to Chapter 10. But first, we're going to carry through with our Chapter 9 discussion. So we're going to move through with our aging. And as we get through our section on the family, I will start introducing you to the concept of intersectionality a little bit more, and we'll use that to tackle some bigger sociology questions. So we're going to go to Chapter 9, looking at aging. Make sure you have that discussion moving forward. Read Chapter 10, and then you're going to complete the quiz. And there's a Dropbox assignment associated with this chapter. For this assignment, you're just going to answer questions going back to the chapter. And then you're going to watch a short crash course video on capitalism and socialism and do initial posts on that. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at a shortcoming of each of them. And I will explain why we're doing that. And so our Dropbox questions, there's 4 questions. I want to make sure you put full paragraph answers. I was pretty lenient through the beginning of the class on how I graded things, but as I move on throughout the rest of the semester, I'm going to be a little tougher on this. So this will go for your Dropbox and your post on D2L. So your initial posts, make sure they're properly written paragraphs. If not, I do have the rubric that I will use, and your grade will reflect. So make sure you hit on these ideas and show that you've actually read and understand the material, or that you're trying to. If you have a question and you mess up on these, I can respond to you with a correction. And the idea of this is to learn, especially in a discussion. So don't be afraid to post something that you may think is wrong later on and you want to go back and correct. That is fine. I don't mind that at all. But I do mind if you just give a half-baked response. So if you just put out there a very short answer that makes no sense and doesn't show that you've read the material or considered the information, your grade will reflect that. So again, 1 to 2 paragraph answers for each of these. They don't have to be very long paragraphs, so don't think I'm asking you to do a half page on each one. A couple of short paragraphs can get the point across. You understand what's going on here. We got the quiz, and here's the capitalism and socialism, and all you're going to do is discuss a shortcoming of each one. When you're doing this, you don't have to try to contrast them. You don't need to do that. The point of this is, and I'll just tell you this right now, the point of this is to show you that both of these systems have flaws. So you're going to discuss a flaw you see with capitalism and a flaw you see of socialism. And I don't want you to get at the idea of, I see this flaw with capitalism, so socialism is right. I don't want you to cherry pick your ideas like that. The same thing of socialism. Just find one thing that's wrong with each one and discuss that. So there's 2 questions on this. Let's see how my link goes. I forgot how I have it set up here. So, very simple question. Discuss a shortcoming of capitalism. Discuss a shortcoming of socialism. Again, that's all you're going to do. You're just going to find one shortcoming that's actually going to be highlighted in this video, or that you're going to see on the in the chapter. So you choose, but find something. It's probably a good idea to kind of discuss where you get that idea from. But don't use this for myth making and pushing through ideas or ideologies. I don't want you to say that capitalism is good and there's no shortcomings with it because it rewards people for hard work, and then you get to socialism and you say, well, this is bad. I usually have 1 or 2 people do this every semester, so I'm trying to show you guys to just answer the question that's being asked. You're just going to discuss each concept individually. And it shouldn't be that hard to do, but for some reason it is a very difficult question for a lot of people to answer, because they want to throw their own idea behind what they think is better. So you're not going to do that here. You're just going to say what's a shortcoming of each one of them, and remain focused on that. And as you do your responses, I do expect that to happen with that, but I'll get to that next week. Aside from that, this is a very straightforward week. And like I said, anyone who knows me will know that this is not normal, that I usually would have every chance I have to discuss politics or economics, and I would jump all over that. Like I said, that's not going to happen this week. We will get into this a little bit more later on. But I don't want this class to be confused with a political science class. They do overlap each other quite a bit. As you see, this overlaps psychology and history and economics quite a bit. But I think in this area, I could actually present things in a way that make it seem like this is a political science class, and it definitely isn't. Sociology is looking at much different things, but it is focused. Ultimately, people do look at economics and do look at politics quite a bit in sociology. Like I said, we're just going to get to that a little bit later. I do want to maintain this as a social discussion. If anyone has any questions, feel free to get back to me. Remember, emails on D2L. People are getting better at not sending them on the regular BH email. I don't respond to those quite as fast. And there were some questions about grading. There were some midterm grades that were handed out. If you received one, it's not the end of the world. We give those out to people who may need a little bit extra help. At this point, move forward, do what's asked of you, and you will do fine in this class. So you do have a chance to pick your grade up. There have been people who successfully done very well in a class after receiving a midterm. If you are concerned, get back to me at the end of this week when I have some more stuff graded, and we can discuss this. But there is a bigger assignment due at the end when you have your paper due, which will help boost grades. If you didn't receive a midterm, it means that you have over a C in the class so far. But like I said, if you do all the work, it shouldn't be that difficult. And if you've missed on some things in the past, don't worry, you have a chance to pick things up. So it's not the end of the world. So have a great week. Enjoy this section. Politics is something that's great and it's fun to discuss, and it is very fun with a sociological lens. And so I want you to take your time with us and still enjoy this section, because we will, like I said, as the semester goes through, hit back on these ideas a bit more. All right, well, thank you so much, and enjoy your week.